Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. A while back I asked you guys, what is the worst advice that you ever got when you were shopping for fragrances? And today I'm gonna be going over with you guys some of your answers. And friends, I got a new code for you from Triple Traders. In case you're unaware of the website, they sell a boatload, and I mean a boatload of cologne fragrances. They got just like everything under the sun. So if you ever shop there, use the code GENTSCENTS for 10% off your order. I have it linked in the description below. So that's Triple Traders, GENTSCENTS, 10% off. And that's with the two S's, GENTS, SCENTS, GENTSCENTS, all one word. And then pause the video now for your typical codes that you can use. Oh, and also heading into July and August, the Lucky Scent code is changing to 2023 Gents for 10% off. End of June, it's still what it has been. Heading into July, it changes. I know, it's a lot to keep up with. I do want to preface this by saying this is not a shot. Fragrance salespeople working the counters at Macy's or Sephora or Ulta or Nordstrom or wherever. There are a whole bunch of people out there, sales professionals who know what they're talking about, who are passionate about fragrances, who can give you really, really good advice. But then there are also salespeople who really couldn't give two craps. And that's what we're talking about today. I mean, you would hope that at some point, if you were, working at a store like this and your job was selling fragrances and informing people on fragrances and helping them out with fragrances, that eventually you would learn something, through osmosis, just standing there. Eventually you would pick something up, or maybe you would even, try to educate yourself a little bit. But no, doesn't always happen, does it? So let's kick things off with Pain and Pyro, who wrote us kind of an essay, the longest one that I saw by far. Jesus Christ. The worst was definitely getting interrogated and lectured by an associate at my local Dillard's for buying fragrances from discounters. That actually came up a lot. Discounters. Believe it or not, people whose job it is to they get commissions for selling fragrances at full retail are not a fan of you checking out a fragrance at their store and then turning around and buying it from a discounter. Weird. That came up a lot. That was sarcasm, by the way. Like, some people are gonna go, that's not weird, man. Actually, the reason is because they're losing out on sale. That's why they don't like it. The store is like a minute from my apartment, so I'd occasionally stop in to smell some scents I was curious about before buying online. You were doing the thing. But I had also bought several full price bottles from them on multiple occasions as well. So at least you're helping them out sometimes. That's commendable. Last fall, I was in the market for a scent for my upcoming wedding. And in the middle of testing a few things, this woman randomly asks if I'd ever bought fragrances online. And then I answered that sometimes I would, if the scent was a bit older or hard to find in stores, which is valid. My mistake for even entertaining that nonsense with an answer. She proceeded to lecture my wife and I about how A, those fragrances were all fake, and B, doing that was putting her out of a job. Yeah, things got uncomfortable very quickly. And of course, all fragrances sold online at discounters are not fake, all fake. As long as you stick to discounters that are trusted, you should know those by now if you've watched the channel for a while. The big ones, the easy peasy ones, Fragrance Net, Fragrance Buy, Joma Shop, etc. There's a bunch of them. I laughed it off and tried to play it down and move on, but then when we tried to leave a few minutes later after getting a few sprayed cards of a couple cents to mull over that night, she literally pulled the same stunt again, basically implying that we better not be going to purchase those scents online from a discounter and that we were affecting her job. Not kidding, we ended up just sort of awkwardly excusing ourselves and hurrying out. I still needed to test some other scents, so we ended up going to a Saks Fifth Avenue that was nearby. I'd always been kind of intimidated to go there because I thought it would be pretty bougie, and I ain't making that kind of money, sadly. At this point, I would expect that lady to just like pop her head above the counter at Saks also. It's kind of like this. Yo, are you still looking at going online? Are you trying to buy from discounters? We're affecting my job, and I'm about to be affecting your life. You're never gonna get rid of me. That would have been way more interesting, but that's not what happened. Turns out they had a way better selection than Dillard's, and the sales associate was way more pleasant and helpful. Ended up eventually settling on Sauvage Elixir, nice one, which I bought full price a few days later. And suffice to say, I haven't stepped foot in that Dillard's again. You're lost, Dillard's. Next bit of advice comes from Lad Gallant. 3111, who says, by far the craziest thing I've ever heard was from a Parfum de Marly sales rep who told me Godolphin was King Louie's favorite fragrance. This comes up a lot, specifically with niche brands. I know you know which one I'm talking about, but there are others also. Agreed. That's who I was talking about. But you gotta love this kind of stuff where it's like a brand that has existed for sometimes only a few years, and then they start coming out with, oh, did you know that this was Julius Caesar's favorite fragrance? Yeah, that Julius, it was his. Yeah, we've been around that long. Yeah, it's just so mind-blowing. And some of it does come from the brands, where you'll have these brands just throwing out stuff that's obviously incorrect. You know, they're just using it as marketing. Other times it's salespeople who heard something from that guy, and gets passed down, and then they're just spewing complete crap trying to sell the fragrance to you. So yeah, Godolphin, was that King Louie's favorite fragrance? No, obviously not. No, come on, man. What are you a terrible salesperson? Why are you doing this? Unless it works for them, and maybe it does. Maybe that's their closing line right there. Use that line, it closes, people buy. Next one comes from Fragmerican Idiot 5061, who says, I think for most of us, it will be the whole thing about an eau de toilette, eau de parfum, and a parfum of a fragrance that are the same, just different concentrations. But the weirdest, and certainly made up completely, fact that I was told was that because Creed fragrances are all natural, I would be smarter to buy 50 ml bottles more frequently, because the 100 ml will go bad before I finish it. So this came up a ton, talking about the concentration thing. Eau de toilette, eau de parfum. So many of you have heard from salespeople, it's the same, the exact same fragrance, it's just one of them is stronger because the concentration is different. Sauvage, for example, eau de toilette, eau de parfum. The eau de toilette is the weakest, lasts the smallest amount of time, projects the least, and the parfum is the strongest, projects the most, lasts the longest. And that goes for any fragrance with flankers that are EDT, EDP, and P. And obviously that is not true. That isn't at all how that goes about. The concentration is different, but oftentimes the fragrance itself can be completely different from an eau de toilette to an eau de parfum to a parfum, depending on how the flanker is approached. And obviously having a higher concentration does not automatically mean it's going to project further or even last longer. Sometimes, yes, absolutely it does. Other times it does not. But you can see where somebody who's maybe just barely scratching the surface of fragrances might see the difference in concentration, the oils in the scent, and go like, well, it's got to be stronger. I'm going to use that as a selling point. And then Creed. Yeah, Creed. All natural fragrances, that whole thing. Yeah, we can talk about this forever. Something being natural or having natural ingredients does not automatically mean that it's higher quality than something that uses synthetic ingredients. Some synthetic ingredients are much more expensive than some natural ingredients, vice versa. It just depends on what you're talking about, what you're using. And that being said, Creed themselves, all natural fragrances. And as long as you store your fragrances properly, they're gonna last for a long time. Unless there's a defect with the bottle where it's allowing too much oxygen in, all this stuff, but those are mitigating factors. Larry Frazier 6250 says, I was told an all Haramain fragrance was 100% oil concentrate and retail for over $300, but for me it was going to be that low price of $125. Pulled out my phone and showed her the real cost. Now this happens a bunch in certain stores that carry all Haramain, Armaf, Latafa, fragrance brands like that. So you'll go in and they will be priced at exorbitant prices as compared to what you can find them for online. And yeah, I could actually see an all Haramain fragrance, depending on which one we're talking about, at one of these stores being listed for just an insane price. And then they're gonna hit you with that, but I gave it to you for $125. And maybe if you don't know anything and you see all Haramain and they put the schmooze on you and start trying to tell you how high quality it is and how you're going to get it for this amazing discounted price, maybe it sounds pretty good at that point. Until later on, when you go to look the fragrance up and show somebody, oh, I got this one, it's, wait a sec, $35. No, that can't be right. No. This is supposed to retail for $300. Did I get taken? Have I been had? Oh. Yeah, it happens a lot, especially with those Middle Eastern fragrances. I would say with those brands, 99 times out of 100, you want to be buying them online. Zane P67 says, the salesperson told me around Christmas time last year that Toomey was selling their fragrances at a loss because they just loved them so much and believed in the brand. So you might want to take advantage right now before the prices go way up. Oh, Toomey me. The Toomey fragrances that I've smelled are not bad. They've got a nice little presentation. Love the cap design on it. But no brand like that is going to be making fragrances in such a small number that they're not able to get like a bulk discount from the flavoring house and from the people that are making the presentations and everything, that they're selling at a loss. That's not happening. And it's not that they're insanely priced when we're talking about full retail. They're $110 for a 100 ml size bottle, which is way more affordable than their luggage is. Yeah, it's pricey. They're not taking a loss. The quality of the ingredients that are in there don't rise to the point that $110 is losing the money, right? But that is a good sales technique, I guess, for a number of people where you tell them, hey man, this stuff is so good. Trust me, I know. They're taking the L on this. Every bottle they sell, they're losing money. They are in the business of losing money. That's what they're about. But in the future, they might want to actually make a couple dollars. So you want to take advantage right now where they're still holding the L. It's not how it works. It's not how any of this works. Visco1 says, 1 million. Great for hot summer days. Just short and sweet and to the point. Yeah, that's questionable. And this is something that came up a bunch. Salespeople recommending a fragrance for a season and a use that maybe it's not the best for. Ultimately, you should be able to smell the fragrance and say to yourself, when would I feel comfortable wearing this? And then you can make the decision from there. And if you want to wear it during the summer, cool, but just maybe dial those sprays down, right? But in general, when you get advice like that from somebody, it just screams that they're really pulling stuff out of their butt. They're just trying to say whatever they think they need to say to get you to buy it. It's great for summer days and date nights and weddings and the office and interviews and sleeping. It's good for everything. Then we got one from Just Halfling, who says, when Dior Homme Sport 2021 came out, I kept pointing at the marketing posters of the new bottle style to the Dior spokesperson because she kept insisting that the 2017 version was the newest one. And this is something that came up a bunch, specifically Dior, because Dior loves to change a fragrance, sometimes completely differently, Dior Homme 2020, and then keep the bottling convention and the naming convention pretty much the exact same. And what ends up happening is you have a new version of the fragrance coming out like this, the new Dior Homme Sport coming out, but the salespeople haven't bothered to look anything up about this. They don't know about it, and maybe they haven't been educated yet by the brand they're working for or the store they're working for. And so you come in and you're like, hey, do you have the new this? And then they're completely confused and befuddled and have no clue what you're talking about. And I've actually had this happen before in the past as well for similar things as this, actually when Dior Homme Sport 2017 came out. So yeah, this happens a lot. Salespeople don't know what new thing has come out, and it creates confusion, and it does make them look bad. And this came up with other fragrances as well, like people looking for the new Zorro Wanted, and then the salespeople having no clue what they were talking about. Then we have one from Kubas Pam 4160, probably butchered that, my bad. They said the Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette is 100% natural ingredients, and if I care for perfumes that are made from the gifts of nature, not in the lab, I should go for Dior Sauvage. Of all the hills to die on, salesperson, that is a rough one. Look, man, if you care about fragrances that are made from the gifts of nature, as opposed to that crap made in a lab, man, Dior Sauvage, it's the most natural smelling thing I've ever smelled in my life ever. Like, what are you talking about? That's somebody you should not take advice from. And again, we're right back at the whole natural ingredients thing. It seems to be something that some sales professionals lean upon. Oh, this is made with natural ingredients. This is all natural. 100% natural right here. It's organic. It's an organic, vegan, 100% natural fragrance, and it is far superior to anything else on the market. Just marketing fluff and just bleh. It means nothing. JANM2ZQ says that Yop Homme was perfect for me when I was 15 in the middle of the summer. No. No, that salesperson hated you. Sorry. I'm going to assume that this was decades in the past, not any time here recently. I just can't imagine somebody who would do that. It's child abuse. Yeah, Yop Homme is good for nobody in the middle of summer. And actually, I think Yop Homme at this point is just don't do it. Just say no. So in the U.S., we used to have DARE decades ago in elementary school. Drug Abuse Resistance Education. Just say no to drugs. I think that now we need to have JARE. Yop Abuse resistance education. And last up, we've got Alexander Blake 6522, who says, you don't want any Chanel fragrances. Have you ever tried Sauvage? Yeah, Sauvage making another appearance. I gotta say, probably 40% of the comments as I was reading through seemed like they had Sauvage in there, one way or another. Sauvage. And it makes sense because it's the best-selling fragrance in the US, a pretty good margin, which means people come in and they ask about Sauvage and they get sold Sauvage. And then the salespeople get in their mind, Sauvage. So anytime somebody walks in and asks for anything, they're like, have you tried Sauvage? And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The salespeople sell more Sauvage. They get more commissions. So then every time somebody comes in, they're like, Sauvage, which means more people are buying, more selling, more buying, more selling, more buying, Sauvage. Somebody comes in and they're like, you know what? I would like a pipe tobacco kind of fragrance that's gonna smell really great in the winter during the evening. Oh, how about Dior Sauvage Parfum? Have you tried that? It's good. I would like an aquatic fragrance, something just extremely fresh and easy to wear to the gym. Oh, here, Sauvage Eau de Toilette. Go with 12 sprays, trust me. Yeah, Sauvage is taking over the world. That's rough for Chanel. You don't want any Chanel. Have you tried Sauvage? I mean, come on. You can throw on Blue de Chanel, and then you've got two fragrances from the same style. Maybe they like the Chanel more. Bad salesperson. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you for all your submissions. If you want to be featured in a future video, there's probably another one of these up on my community tab, one of these posts where I ask you guys your opinions, your thoughts, and your fragrance submissions for a different question. So drop a comment on there or upvote somebody else's. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.